What's up, everybody? Alex here. I just wanted to pop in at the beginning of the episode for a couple things. First, we didn't do a great job introducing our guest or letting him plug his stuff, so I'll do that here. Our guest this week is Scott Brain, who's a Muay Thai coach at Capital MMA and also a mindset coach outside of the gym. If you'd like to contact him for some coaching, you can find him on Instagram at Scott_Brehaz. That's Brehaz. And also, we started recording this episode in the middle of a conversation again, but that was getting a bit long. So this week, I cut it and put it at the end of the episode. So if you want to hear all about Pittsburgh in the 80s or whatever BJ and him were talking about, feel free to stick around after the outro. Hello and welcome.
You want to start this thing?
To another exciting episode of the Tap Often podcast. I'm your host, Alex, and with me, as always, is my brown belt co-host, BJ.
I didn't know where you were going with that.
Wow, brown.
What's happening?
I didn't know we're getting racial. Jeez.
Yeah.
What kind of podcast is this?
He was going on to a whole new level with that. I didn't know
Talk
where
about
you were
people's
going.
Skin color.
I am a bit golden right now. It's been nice outside, so the southern Italian in me is taking advantage of
Olive
this.
skinned, yeah.
Yeah, olive skin. My daughter hates me for it. Hates me. She does not have my olive skin. I said to her the other day.
She doesn't.
I was like, why don't you go ahead and cut the grass and work on that tan? She was like, really? Sorry, babe.
Well, BJ, our listeners might have heard a third voice here. Why don't you introduce our guest to everybody?
Super excited.
Yeah, you are excited.
I am excited. You can tell.
Let's go.
This is to my left, Scott Brain from Capital Alexandria, but he's much more than that. One, he might be the only person in this room shorter than me, which I'm excited about because that rarely happens other than when I'm teaching my third graders. And some of them,
Hey, don't insult Scott like that.
and some of them are taller than me.
What do you advertise at?
Yeah, what do you build?
In Skechers or not?
Ooh, Skechers.
So I'm a solid, I would say legitimately 5'6" on the button, maybe.
Yeah.
But in the WWE, you'd be billed as 5'10", 230 pounds.
Yeah, in high school I was 5'9".
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I billed myself as 5'7"
Yep.
in high school for all the recruiters out there.
Yeah.
All the many recruiters who wanted me to play for their football teams. Psych.
And then they saw you and they're like, I remember I got a letter from a school one time, and then it turned into a conversation for recruiting, right? And I'm not going to say the university, and they were like, so what are your grades? And I told them, they're like, it's tough. and then
Off to a good start.
yeah, and then they're like, well,
You're not smart enough to get
yeah,
out
they're
of
like, what are your weight room numbers? And I told them, like, okay, that's good. And they're like, and they knew how far I threw, and they're like, it's solid. And they're like, well, how tall are you? I'm like, 5'9". And they're like, yeah, I don't know if this is gonna work out. I was like, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, my big my near miss was I had the head coach and defensive coordinator for Columbia come to my house for a visit, and this is where I'm going. This is going back to the height thing, so I'm filling out because this is Alex. This is pre-internet, so when college,
we had to fill the form.
yeah, when college recruiters, how they would get a hold of you.
What do you mean pre-internet?
We're old.
This was before Al Gore, I guess. Yeah.
So the college coaches would send you a form that you had to put your name, height, weight, your accomplishments on,
gosh.
what you want to do in school, and then you'd mail it back to them, and they'd decide if they wanted to recruit you. So on all my applications, I was a solid 5'7". And when the coaches came to my house, I was excited. I couldn't wait for them to be there. Big deal. I wanted to go to school in New York City, wanted to play for Columbia, wear those powder blue uniforms. So I had to make sure that they knew I was 5'7".
Right. No.
I'm from Western PA. You know, I got a hunting family. We got boots, all kinds of stuff. So I find the biggest pair of boots I could find. Then I found all the soles I could from every pair of shoes I had in the house, and I shoved them in the boots so I could appear that solid 5'7". But Columbia didn't work out, folks.
That's amazing. And it wasn't academics. You're a smart guy.
I was smart, but not smart enough for Columbia.
You're not smart enough to make up for the 5'6".
Well, they had the brackets, like the guys who were actually like really bright for Ivy League. Then there's
Yeah.
like this middle ground, and I was probably down here, so they had like a couple spots for semi-smart guys
Yeah.
like me.
But if you're 5'10",
oh,
wrap.
hey,
It's a
man.
wrap.
Yeah, they'll wave it.
Yeah.
It's close enough.
Dude, it's tough being short.
Well, there's a study done about it was like your height and how much money you need to make for women to be interested in you, and it was like
wow.
the taller you were, the less money you needed to make in order for them to consider you.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but speaking of the South Side, I did have a, on a, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, finding
Yeah.
pizza, etc. A woman approached me and said, you know what, you'd be really handsome if you were taller.
Oh,
Yeah.
a Pittsburgh woman would say that to you.
Yeah.
A woman from Western PA would definitely.
I'd marry you if you weren't ugly.
Hey, but it all,
If you were rich and better looking,
If you were anyone else, I'd probably date you.
hey, all worked out. I'm married to a 5'9" beautiful African immigrant. So,
I was gonna say she's taller than you. Yeah.
yeah, and then some. She had high heels on when I met her.
Okay.
I was like,
You were so excited. You're like, yes.
what Redskin do you date?
Yeah.
That was my initial thought.
Yeah.
Was that your opening line? You just walked up to her?
Honey, I know you're listening out there. You walked up to me.
Yeah.
You know that.
Did she also walk up to you? Was that the woman who said if you were taller, you'd be more
She walked up, said that to you.
She's actually a sizist. She calls me her pocket-sized white man.
Oh, that's adorable.
To my face and behind my back.
Does she just carry you around the house?
Yes, sometimes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she gets high things off of shelves for me. She opens cans for me, or excuse me, your jars when I can't get the jars open. She's got quite the grip.
Well, that's amazing because I don't know if you noticed when you're in the kitchen, we have a stool that we.
That's how I got my coffee. I saw that.
And the coffee was at the 39-inch counter.
Oh.
Yeah. But because I'm the giant. Well, actually, no, Lucy's taller than me officially now. She's 5'6". Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
How the mighty have fallen.
I don't know about ever mighty. But definitely, I've fallen.
Are you guys familiar with that clavicular guy?
Clavicular.
He's like a Gen Z alpha male kind of guy or anything. But
he's one of them.
he has really insane ideas. He's like, I think he's the guy who like microdoses meth and does like all these testosterone and stuff to like stay active. Anyway,
Mike Meth.
Microdosing meth and testosterone.
someone asked him
to my doctor
about
that one.
how to hide how short you are. And he mentioned wearing lifts in your shoes, but also sagging your pants down to hide the lifts. But my favorite tip he had was if you have a lot of books at your house to make you look smart, you could have them strategically placed on the floor around your house, and you could stand on the books
And walk across the books.
to appear taller.
Yeah,
than
the whole, that alpha stuff is actually, that's not true. Like this whole alpha male,
Oh, yeah.
wolf pack stuff. But it's funny. So the alpha and the short thing, who is it? Barstool guy. What's his name? Portnoy.
Oh yeah, Dave Portnoy.
Yeah, there's a bunch of these guys out there like Portnoy that are like, they're 5'5" like myself, but they can't handle it. And he's
Right.
like, you'll see pictures and he's up on his tippy toes.
Yeah, he's
with
really
other
on
people.
his toes too.
Yeah.
Can't own it, man. You gotta own that stuff.
You got to own it.
You can't hide it.
And
I mean,
that's
you
why-
are what you are.
Yeah, and that's why you could pull a woman who is 5'9".
Yeah, well, 'cause that's how I bring it, baby. But you look at a guy like Biggie Smalls, man.
Right.
Christopher Wallace, rest in peace. He owned every part of his
All of-
appearance.
Everything. He didn't.
Big, slanted eye,
Yep.
bagging the ladies.
Yep.
Bagging the ladies.
Breathing heavy, just sitting on the chair, sweating, just sitting there. But yeah.
No apologies for how he looked.
Nope.
He owned it.
All right, let's get into our first
Uh-oh.
segment of the podcast here called Tap In, Tap Out. Scott, if you aren't familiar, Tap In, Tap Out, we're going to present a statement to you.
Oh my God.
If you agree, you will say tap in. If you disagree, you will say tap out. And then you will offer a explanation regardless.
This is fun.
So this is the concept. Okay.
This is part of the concept.
This is just one segment.
This is one segment. Yeah.
My statement for you, Scott. The horn or flute thing they play during Muay Thai fights is annoying. Tap in, tap out.
Is this like a true or false?
No, this is you. I'm asking if you agree or not.
you
It's an opinion-based thing.
I do not agree with that.
Okay.
And what do I say? Say tap. What?
You would tap out.
I'm tapping out.
All right, and then offer an explanation.
Give some rationale. And you could probably explain why you know about that, too, because I don't think
Did we not introduce you?
really
Or...
introduced
All they know about you is you're a short guy. A short
guy
man
from
from
Pittsburgh. Married a tall African immigrant.
Who likes Chico Williams? I don't know if we got that part of the podcast going. Outside looking in, yeah, that is not pleasing to the ear. It's not. So when we finally got to authentic Thai coaches, Master Odie, Crew Roger, and we would play that by them per their suggestion. We would have that playing during practice.
Oh, wow.
It sets a rhythm. It sets a pace. Because if you listen to the pacing of the song, it'll increase as the fight goes along.
Interesting.
Because the way, 5-round fights in Thailand, generally, first 2 rounds aren't generally supposed to be scored. People are getting comfortable with each other, and the bets are going in.
Really?
3, 4, and 5, the pacing of the music picks up, and then you'll see the pacing of the fight pick up, too.
Wow.
So rhythm is a dancer.
That's so
Rhythm is a
companion.
dance. Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to get copyright struck for that.
Yeah.
Don't say it.
Can you delete that? So why do you know about Muay Thai so much? Crew.
Well,
Should we can refer to you as Crew. Crew Scott.
yeah, Crew's like it's an interesting title, but it's not like when you guys are going through your BJJ titles and some of the more formal martial arts, Crew's just generally coach in Thai, and there's not necessarily like a process to get to it. So, but it's cool. Yeah. It's cool to have that.
But they just don't go around being like, "Hey, Crew." Like Alex can coach Muay Thai for a year and not be Crew.
Yeah.
Yeah. He needs more work. Oh, I got to move the mic.
Move the mic so you're...
Like this.
It doesn't have to be awkward. Put it in a natural place where you can talk to Scott.
I just got to keep
Have you
hitting.
guys done this before?
This is our 7th episode.
We
He doesn't know how to
we
talk
actually
into
have never done this angle.
Yeah.
So that might be why it's throwing
Just
me off.
stop moving so we're just...
All right.
Now
Thanks.
you can...
Audience, we apologize.
We're going to circle back to the Muay Thai question.
Yeah. So the Muay Thai. So tell us a little bit about your Muay Thai experience.
Muay Thai, and it's generally kind of common knowledge at this point for most people who've gotten into like fighting, because this was not a thing X amount of years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your 3 majors. It's baseball, football, basketball, then you got hockey and everything else thereafter.
Not NASCAR though.
Not NASCAR, no Ricky Bobby. Boxing has kind of faded, and then people started getting into the old MMA and the UFC, the cage fighting. But you'll hear a lot of the guys over the past 20 years like, well, what got you going? I saw Bloodsport.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So on Bloodsport, when I saw it when I was a kid, just like most of us, it was fascinating.
Yeah.
The Thai fighter, Paco, I was like, he should have won the whole thing. Paco got robbed.
Yeah.
So I just always had this I was like, this is a really cool art form. I go through the process of playing, sports in high school and college, playing football, contact sports, all that stuff. Go through graduate school, get a job here in the D.C. metro area, lifting weights like us Western Pennsylvania Pittsburgh boys do.
We
right
get
away
it. You
in
guys are
utero.
strong,
Yeah,
strong
man, I mean,
people.
We're little and strong.
Yeah, I'm
Not little usually.
I'm at a Gold's Gym down here, and I'm slanging the weights around, but it's just not the same as being around a team, hitting people, getting hit, all that stuff. So I found a Muay Thai gym, Capital MMA, over on Eisenhower. No bigger than...
Oh, you were over there.
Oh, yeah, that was attached to Jungle's Gym that's now One Life Fitness.
I just missed you then.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
year was that when you started at Capitol?
Oh, that's a good question. I'd have to go back to when I moved down here, so I can't remember. I don't know, like 2008, 2009, probably.
Okay.
Something along those lines. Jeremy had, this area was BJJ. That's, and then it was like, there was some Muay Thai, some striking, but the striking was boxing. DC's a great boxing city, but it hadn't meshed into the MMA scene here. And anybody who was doing Muay Thai, it really wasn't authentic Muay Thai. It was kind of like, kind of hodgepodge based upon what people would see and what they knew.
Was it more like kickboxing than...
I didn't even know it was kickboxing. People would study it, and they would get some. People would try to duplicate or replicate what their coaches did, and then maybe they'd end up being coaches. But it wasn't like what we have now. I mean, the environment here in the DC metro area now for Thai boxing is just incredible. Like, I mean, for example, we all know Amin Balafrick. came through Capital, and he has his own gym now, Atlas Muay Thai, which is like, that's actually, the irony is it's like 5 minutes from the original Capital now.
Right.
So, well, that's not actually the original Capital I went to. But for anybody coming into the area who lives in this area, says, I want to do Thai boxing, you cannot find a gym where you would walk in and here's a WBC Muay Thai, ranked, multiple champion with a fantastic gym. So yeah, there's a lot of good things out there in terms of Muay Thai, in terms of access to, to coaching. But that's kind of how I got to it. Yeah. Lifting weights, then I want to do something different, then I did that.
And you didn't box at all? Like
No boxing. I had interest in it. I found some old pictures. My grandfather had, my paternal grandfather had been just like an amateur boxer back in, Western Pennsylvania. But I actually wanted to box in middle school. My parents weren't having it, but they were okay with football.
Right. Only we need more head trauma.
Yeah, two major knee surgeries and countless other injuries later.
Yeah.
Like that's been a lot worse on my body.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, BJ, do you have a tap in, tap out?
I do. So my tap in if you agree with the statement. Tap out if you disagree.
I like the teaching method there too. Your public school, it's
I wanted to make sure it was clear.
Were my instructions at the beginning not clear?
The problem is you gave too many instructions in a very short amount of time
You
for him
overloaded
to be able to process.
You overloaded my working memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to chunk the directions to me.
We're gonna dive into that. So
This episode's over.
yep. So Alex, there's your statement. Alex is a moron
Oh,
for thinking Outcast is not very good.
That's a
and it's
Yeah. I think we should just be very explicit.
yeah.
Alex, I'll say it again.
Yeah.
Alex is a moron
Yeah.
for thinking Outcast
I agree
is
with
not
that.
very
So that's a
good.
tap in, right?
Yes, you're gonna tap
Yeah.
in.
You don't like Outcasts?
Yeah, Alex.
I told BJ this was
It's okay. It's a free country, or so I've heard.
Depends.
the Outcast I listened to growing up. The first song I ever listened to was Miss Jackson, and I think that song's annoying.
Fair.
And then the other stuff they did after that, I haven't heard any Outcast that I liked. Now I'm not saying they're bad. A lot of people I know like Outcast. I don't think they're bad. I just haven't heard anything that I was really into. That's all.
Yeah. So the thing is too with Outkast, they got more experimental from their initial years, which is like there was a year '94. I mean, it was Outkast, it was Nas, it was Wu-Tang. There were a couple other the Ready to Die was out in that time frame too. So we're talking.
It was a great era.
Yeah, and I know I'm forgetting some other things too, but Southern Playalistic, funky Cadillac music,
Cadillac funky music.
Okay, yeah, there you go. That's like Southern, like rhythmy blues, hip hop, and it was just like Southern drawl, and it was kind of like it's like that Southern gangster style.
Yeah, it was so different than everything else.
Yeah, and then
It was like Wu-Tang. It was the same thing where it was so different than the rest of the sounds.
and Big Boys kind of kept some of that going. But overall, like they have messed around with a lot of different sounds, I think, and it's kind of like, I don't know. It's as the evolution of music's quite interesting.
Yeah.
You'll see guys, start in one place and then transform into something else.
Except New Kids on the Block, they did not change. Please Don't Go Girl, still a timeless classic.
They're still touring.
They are. We saw them in concert 3 years ago. I'm not lying. Here's the concert. Ready? It was like New Kids on the Block, Salt and Pepper, Naughty by Nature.
What?
Yeah, it was incredible. It was incredible.
Naughty by
There was a little something for everybody in
New
that show.
Kids.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Funny enough, Tretch from Naughty by Nature, because I'll go rigidly deep on hip hop and lyricism and stuff, and I can appreciate it, but it really just stand out. But Tretch from Naughty by Nature,
Amazing.
like your favorite MC's favorite MC is more than likely to be Tretch.
So who would you say is like who would be your top 3
Top
MCs?
5 dead or alive?
We'll go top 3 MCs.
Oh,
MCs, not like necessarily like people who were actual MCs. Like they They got lyrics. They're lyricists. They sound like it's an instrument. It's not just like someone up there and like Drake.
Yeah, it's like
Drake's voice is an instrument.
He's an instrument.
I mean, this rock him to God.
There it is.
There you go, man. Microphone fiend.
Yep. Number one.
Microphone fiend.
That's one.
Yeah,
one.
I mean, he's incredible, and he's he's brilliant to this day. I mean that it gets. Oh no, my clear number two, and it's just a tragedy. What happened with him was the DOC.
Yeah.
This was Dr. Dre's first prodigy. Yeah, and unfortunately, he got a little too high one night, had a car accident, and crushed his voice box.
Yeah. It was like 91, somewhere around there, like early 90s.
Unbelievable album from start to finish, complex lyricists. In fact, he said Tretch was the only guy he couldn't replicate like his rhythm. But the DOC's fantastic, and if you want to go back and you look at interviews with guys like Snoop and that early Chronic album, like DOC had his hands all over that in terms of developing those guys.
Yeah,
brilliant artist.
It's kind of like the West Coast Big L.
Yeah.
Like what could have been.
Yeah, Big L. That's another one. And after that third spot gets kind of funky, man. You got Big L, you got Cool G Rap, you got Nas.
Ghostface Killer.
Oh yeah, I mean, Jesus whiz, yeah.
Raekwon.
Raekwon, Ghostface.
Inspector Deck was great.
Inspector Deck. Inspector Deck. He outperformed Tupac on.
Was it the Source Awards?
No, there was a song. Tupac literally said, "Take him off."
Oh yeah. It was he was on it. Inspector Deck, and it was a woman. And Tupac told him,
"It's got my mind made up." He came on at the end, and Tupac's like, "Nope, cut that."
Yep.
He outshined him. And there's some.
Do you know who they are? Like Wu-Tang Clan, right? You're familiar with Wu-Tang? You probably don't like them, even though in the gym we listen to Wu-Tang all the time.
I never got into Wu-Tang, but that song by ODB, Ghetto Superstar, I am a fan of.
Yeah, and I think
it's like the most crappy.
Again, that was like I wasn't exposed to Wu-Tang when I was in the middle of Missouri.
Not a lot, not a lot of Wu-Tang in Kansas City.
No, but
it was just what was ever on the pop stations or the top 100.
And that's why we have learned that Alex does not like Outkast, because he only knows
it's layered, man. Yeah. So there's a lot out there too, but
But if you want to talk about the Angelic album by Tech Nine,
oh wow,
okay. I can talk about that.
Yeah, that big stuff in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Tech Nine. There's a lot of good artists out there, man.
For sure.
Yeah, Old Dirty Bastard, baby. I'm sorry. Oh wait, can I say that?
It's his name.
Old DB. Yeah. He's the misunderstood genius.
And here's a question for you, as an educator: would you consider bastard to be a curse word?
In my classroom, yes.
Why?
Because.
Tap in or tap out.
Because.
Just because?
I don't think it's appropriate for school.
But why? I don't understand why it's considered a curse word.
It depends how you're using it, right? It's like the word damn.
So consider you'd have a classroom full of kids, and one kid doesn't have a dad, and the other kids are, like, oh, I can say something that really stings.
Yeah, but you could say that about like any. You could make fun of anyone for anything like that.
You could say the word frick is the same thing as the F word.
I would never say frick.
Yeah, well, I had coaches who would, and it's like, all right, you're saying the same thing. You're literally, it's the same word at that point. It's the same intent.
Well, being on the other side of things, being in the public school system or schools in general, kids can be pretty nasty when they're learning how to develop socially.
Yeah.
So you want to take certain things off the table.
Yeah, it's just
that's a good way to put it.
When I was growing up, and the word no one knew what the word bastard meant. They just knew that it was a bad word.
With no kids in your neighborhood.
Well, regardless of that, it's just because I remember I got in trouble for calling someone a bastard, but I didn't know.
How old were you?
Probably like 6 or 7.
Okay, yeah.
And I didn't know what it meant. I just knew like from shows and stuff, you just call someone a bastard. And it's kind of like
you
bastard.
Grandpa Simpson from The Simpsons, he doesn't recognize Missouri as a state.
I mean, well, depending on when he grew up.
I'll be damned if I recognize Missouri as a state.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't for a bit.
I'll tell you what, when Lucy was in 4th grade, she came home and asked about some words. And we sat down at the table for dinner and went through the entire alphabet and said, these are all the words that are off the table.
Did you do the George Carlin?
Yep. We went letter A all the way to Z. We came up with as many words, as many examples as we could. And, you know, she's never been in trouble for using bad language.
There you go.
You know, I also,
Because we told her, like, there's no excuse at this point, right? Like, these are off limits.
do you remember in the 90s?
And there's some that are really off limits.
There was that song. I think it's called. I don't remember the name of the song, but she says, "I'm a bitch, I'm a lover."
yeah.
Okay, that song came on.
What was that? Meredith Brooks?
You know what? I got the intrawebs up. I'm just gonna do
I think it was
some of that.
Meredith Brooks.
Anyway, I was in class in first grade, and the song came on, and I go, "Oh, the bitch song is on," and I got written up for that.
Oh, for sure.
It was on the radio,
Yeah,
and they were
totally.
playing it.
It sounds like you had a potty mouth, and the teachers were just tired of it.
No, I got in trouble for bastard at home. Okay, I only got written up for language for this one thing. and I
Meredith
was
Brooks. There you go.
Yep.
I was so annoyed.
Score for BJ.
Why would you put? I didn't.
You know what? I don't know.
You called my parents.
I
There's
don't.
a song
I
on the radio. You're playing
I
the
would
song.
I would say this: if a kid used that language in my classroom, and they have, I would have a conversation with the kid about why that's not okay, and I would let their parents know. But I would also let their parents know about how I handled the situation. And I don't have, like, I want to make sure they understand I don't have an expectation of there needs to be, like, further consequences. Now, if you do it again,
I didn't call anyone.
What? It's
but it's just
Doesn't
letting
the context matter?
well, it depends, like, when we're
There
talking
we
about
go.
trouble, what you mean trouble, right?
Hey,
Like,
I got written up for cursing.
yeah, I don't know if I'd write a kid up for that. I would communicate with the parents to let them know.
so
when
from
it's
a
happening.
from
You're a
a.
rat.
Oh my gosh.
It's fair. It's fair. It's fair.
But we are responsible for teaching kids like what is the know your audience, know where you're at socially. There's a place to say X, Y, and Z with your friends. There's a place to say things when you're with your parents, which is school, social context.
Yep.
And that's what they're teaching. So you agree with that, and you just learned, unfortunately, in that context, even though there's a little confusion.
I learned to not trust teachers.
Well, this sounds like you didn't have a good teacher who really developed a relationship with you.
I don't know. I was 7. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, well, you know,
I just remember this one moment.
well, who's the teacher?
Miss Burton. Shout out to Miss Burton.
Miss Burton, if you're out there, you did a trash job of developing a relationship with Alex. Because
Yeah.
he's still holding on to this.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Taking this as my deathbed.
Clearly.
My last words are going to be besmirching her name.
Yep.
besmirching. That's a. Ooh,
Can you spell that?
That's a $1.50 word right there. At least.
Besmirching.
It starts with a B. Oh, I think my mic's got now. Anyway, Scott, you are a striking coach.
Alex.
And earlier we were talking about the UFC event that happened last night. And you mentioned the heavyweight fight of, I just broke the table. Hockett versus Curtis Blades. I was not a fan of the fight personally, but I wanted to know your thoughts on it from a striking standpoint.
I mean, it's.
There was a lot of striking.
There was a lot of striking. It's really, I mean, it's such a fascinating thing. You know, I played team sports. I played team sports for so long, and football was this big aggressive thing. You're hitting people, and it's it's a group of guys, and you're getting aggressive with another team. There's competition there. When you go into a ring or a cage and it's 1-on-1. The likelihood of things deteriorating into something more primitive or primal, it happens. I know clearly those two went in there with the idea there's a specific strategic goal for them to accomplish in terms of, or multiple, and how they would finish the fight. Because no coach goes in there and say, all right, I want you to go in there and shorten your life by 30 years. Because that's what happened. I mean, what's his Hockett? Is that his name?
Is it Hockett or Hockett? What?
I think his name's Idiot.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, he's just so out there with his. Yeah, well, I mean, it's all a scheme, a sham, fraud, whatever he wants to do to get attention. Anyway, but from a fighting perspective, I mean, I looked in his corner. It was Craig Jackson, and that whole team, which they don't. It's like you have very specific things. I've never been to Greg Jackson's camp, but just watching all those things, you can tell, or somebody watching how they train their fighters, they come in with specific strategies on how to beat people.
Yeah.
So however that happened, I mean, you start punching somebody and the other person, gets hit a certain way, takes it personal, gets into their emotions, or decides to like, let's just take this into the, a primitive brawl. Let's go. And then that's what ended up happening, I think.
Have you ever had to coach somebody like that? Because we were like on this group thread that we have, and I was like, I would never want to coach someone who is just like that. Like it would, it would be infuriating.
Yeah, I think probably what happened too with Hockett or whatever his name is, the Macho Man Savage, WWF Colby Covington knockoff,
Brooklyn Brawler.
Brooklyn Brawler, yeah, he kind of looks like the Brooklyn Brawler. But the thing is that, but also too, like that can. I'm going to backtrack on some of my comments. Is like Curtis Blaydes is a good wrestler. He's generally pretty good with it, his hands. He's not an overwhelming striker, but he doesn't go out there to create chaos and take a fight that way. But I mean, maybe it was part of their plan for Hockett is to pull him into something where he doesn't think.
Yeah.
Let's get into this wild brawl. This happened with Israel Adesanya a couple weeks ago with that guy's name? Paul Pfeiffer, Joe Pfeiffer,
Joe Pfeiffer,
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
Joe
big strapping redheaded
from
dude
Philly.
Yeah. But like Izzy Adesanya had that fight in hand. Like he was piecing up that lead leg. That dude was limping. I'm just gonna call him Joe because I don't know.
Joe Pfeiffer.
It is Pfeiffer. Okay. Yeah. And then then he pressed on the gas. Adesanya pressed on the gas pedal a little bit and thought he could put him away. That was a perfect opportunity for Pfeiffer to take to bring him into a brawl.
Right.
Because when you take Adesanya out of his cerebral cortex, where he's present and thinking about what he needs to do strategically, then you just increase your opportunity to do what he what he did there.
Yeah.
So have I ever coached anybody like that? Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if we got that early part, but coaching, Amin Balafrick, and if Amin hears this or not, I don't care. Love you, dude. But he knows it for a fact. I mean, he came here. He was a wild fighter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, it took multiple, fights and, some, coaching talks, not just me, just with, his support team to like, look, this is what we're going after.
Mm-hmm.
This is exciting to fight this way. Fans do like this,
right.
But here's what happens when you let loose. You leave yourself open for things that could potentially take the fight away from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's happened with a lot of different fighters. But I mean, that's like it's incredible when it starts happening. Yeah. One of my favorite fights for me, but I hate it at the same time. We went down to Miami, and he fought Abraham I think Vidalis. Right, really good fighter, and me went up a weight class, and it devolved into what that Blaydes fight was last night. It was insane.
Yeah,
as a fan, fantastic.
Yeah, it's
fantastic.
On the edge of your chair the whole time. You didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah, but it ended up like because you start to throw caution to the wind, you miss out on some opportunities, defensively to protect yourself. In the fight. He ended up losing the fight, but it was a good lesson.
So if you were in Blade's corner, like what would have been your feedback, especially that first round where he clearly got his nose busted and
he got his bell rung too.
Yeah, he was hurting. Like what would have been your feedback?
We would have went back to some fundamentals of whatever the plan was.
Yeah.
I mean, don't stand in front of him and start trading with him. That's where that guy was at home. Yeah. And as much as Blaydes was making contact with Hockett, Hockett was doing a good job of rolling with those punches, because you would see some really solid shots where Hockett was at the end of Blaydes' punches, but then Hockett would be like, he'd be moving his head, he'd be moving his head and he'd be laughing a little bit. I guarantee you those punches hurt to a certain degree, but they weren't the type of punches that were hitting Blaydes.
Yep.
So, and I think I'm pretty sure. I mean, the Blaydes corner knows, way more than I do, as far as strategy is concerned. But clearly they were telling him to try to take him down. But at that stage, I mean, your nose is broken. I mean, it's hard to breathe.
Yep.
And Blaydes might, even though he might have wanted to get more technical, when your nose is broken, like, your fight, flight, and freeze, your most primitive reactions start to get, called upon. So, that's where it went.
Yeah, it sure did.
And I'm sure those guys got a nice bonus this morning, but, when they're 55, they're going to be like, oh, I don't know if I should have done that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I'm going to push back a bit. I don't think Hockett had much of a game plan because I've seen his other fights. He fights the exact same. I mean, he had his hands down the entire time, and he just kind of
No, they weren't. They were up in Blade's face.
But yeah,
give him the bird 5
Scott,
times.
do you think if he flipped him off a little bit more, he could have knocked him out?
Possibly.
The psychic damage.
He just flipped him off.
He was doing a really good job of rolling with those punches, and he was turning out after Bladis was making contact with him, and it's like it's the mirage that a fighter like that does too. It's it's the whole Floyd Mayweather effect. Like, I'm gonna make you hate me so much that I'm gonna get you to a place where you get reckless.
Yeah.
And also, on the fan side of thing, I'm gonna make you like cringe and hate me so much that you're gonna tune in to maybe see me get knocked out.
Right.
Yeah, the classic heel.
The heel. Yeah, it's the
that.
heel, which Jake Paul has worked to perfection. Not a fan, personally.
What do you think of his boxing?
His boxing, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be the boxing expert, but like he would be a good regional champ.
Right.
He would be ranked in the Northeast and probably be able to get some good professional bouts. Roland was actually the person like when Jake Paul was knocking out. He knocked out that basketball player. I can't.
Oh, Vernon, was it Vernon? Not Vernon Maxwell.
I can't remember.
Vernon Maxwell?
But
yeah, he did. He fought some.
But he was talking all kinds of smack that he could fight X, Y, and Z. And Roland, who was going to be here today. Anyway, Roland sent me a video of Jake Paul in the gym, knocking people out left and right. Granted, these were people that were coming in to get beat up, but I mean, he's got power. And
he's strong.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take anything away from him in regards to that. But it's all it's all fraudy stuff that they're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but Hockett, that was very interesting last night.
Oh my God, dude. I don't know what's more nauseating, him or Moicano. You didn't see his fight last week. Did you ever watch it?
No, I only saw the post-fight interview that you talked about.
It was just basically like, I love Jesus. F the whole audience. F everyone else. I love effing Jesus.
Yoel Romero was doing some Jesus stuff.
Yeah, Yoel, yeah. What isn't his nickname the Soldier of God or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a scary man.
Yeah. He is a scary dude.
He's about to fight Hector Lombard in BKFC.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, he lost a controversial decision somewhere in Russia against another,
of course,
seemingly naturally, built Russian fighter.
Yeah, engineered.
Yeah. I do think Yoel actually has a really good genetic base.
Yeah, he does.
I'm not going to sit here and speculate.
And enhanced genetics.
I will tell even before the whole TRT movement in the recent years, everybody's on gas at some point in their life.
If you ever want to
at that level,
you go. The classic is the Vitor physique during that. But
TRT tour.
But if you go, like somebody will put together a series of pictures of the TRT era, and you'll see guys like, I mean, when Frank Mir fought Lesnar the first time.
Yep.
I think, or both times, he looked like a freaking bodybuilder.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Overeem was stepping on the scale looking like,
horse meat.
Jeez.
He looking like he was, ready to go to the Arnold Classics. So.
Yeah,
Well, there was
all those guys. Like, it's even like if you look at like the 88 Olympics when Ben Johnson won the 100 meters. And of course, he dominated, sets the world record, and then he gets popped like 2 weeks later. But what they don't tell you is like 8 out of the 10 people in the top 10 all were popped. Mm-hmm. But you hear about Ben Johnson. Like, it's just, it is what it is.
Mary Jones was on the sauce.
Oh, yeah. Carl Lewis was.
Yeah.
But he'll never say that. Though all the testing shows that he did.
Our beloved Steelers.
Yeah. Lots of Steelers in the 80s.
Yes.
Well, you had Johnny Hendricks before and after USADA.
Oh, my gosh.
Extreme fallout.
Yeah.
Well, and there's this thought too that your ability to take punishment goes through the roof too.
Right, and it just doesn't.
The old who was
it just doesn't. You actually become more fragile.
Yeah.
Because your tendons, your ligaments, all this stuff's just hanging on for dear life.
Brendan Schaub always talked about, this is 6 years ago, when Jones popped for whatever.
EPO, yeah.
Pulsing.
But he was always in the rumor mill, and he was stating that he was taking something they call check drops.
Yeah.
Which is something they give to put dogs into heat or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's been popular amongst power lifters, football players, rugby players, and fighters since like the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's like an 8-hour like mega dose of steroids or something along those lines. It makes you you're
can I get some of that?
It'll put me in heat too.
Yeah.
Your ability to take punishment goes through the absolute roof, and you're like a wild animal for that short amount of time. Then it's like out of your body.
Yeah. Jesus.
That's cool.
I remember the first time I was introduced to anything like in that world when I was young. I was like 12 or 13. I was in a gym that was just a hardcore Western PA gym. Where everybody was strong, right? And there wasn't Flexall 454 or anything like that. It was horse liniment. He had the blue. It was like a blue horse liniment, and there, and this like muscles are sore. That's what you put on. Where do you get this from? The farm and feed store. Yeah.
Tractor supply.
Yeah. Whatever works. Whatever works.
Okay. Scott, you mentioned you'd been at Capitol since 2008, and now it's
Roughly.
2026, so it's
a long time.
Almost 20 years. How has the gym evolved since you've joined, and what are some things that you noticed they did well, and what are some things you wish they did a little differently?
Oh, wow.
I didn't know this question was coming up.
So we can talk more about going into heat if you prefer.
I'm curious about this being a business owner now too, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was not at the ground up. You know, Jeremy always talks about like he started teaching at an elementary school or something like that. He had some mats.
Yep.
And I think the Eisenhower location was like the first.
Yeah, I was there for the Eisenhower.
Yeah.
It was like the first blue. It was before it expanded into the next room. We had a lot of people in there. It was packed.
Oh.
It was packed. The room was like the size of, I mean, it had to have been 50 by 30, maybe.
Yeah, it was one room.
It was not big.
And then across the hall was it's like a physical therapist, and then he left that
He was down
space.
the hall. Yep.
And then we took that over, and that's where we do our sparring. They teach class in the main room, and they say, all right, all level sparring if you want to go. And we go to spar with zero monitoring.
Oh, really?
Zero monitoring. When the other thing too is from the striking perspective, I talk about like people were just kind of like we were kind of like building the plane as we went.
Yeah.
And you know we didn't know like pacing for sparring. I mean it was like I got my nose broken over there. Like I ate a shin to the face. Just crunch my nose.
Oh my gosh!
I didn't know what I was doing. You know, I was trying to figure stuff out. But
I was trying to figure stuff out.
All right, don't block the kick with my nose next time.
Yeah, it was some dude named he was an MMA fighter, not Carl
Taylor.
No, his name, no, not Taylor was a demon over there.
Yeah.
You did not want to met Taylor would just whip leg kicks at you,
Yeah.
and that was like old MMA striking. He'd give you a low leg kick because he was a grappler, wrestler, jiu-jitsu
He was
guy.
a baseball player in college.
Yeah,
he was one of my first training partners.
Yeah, country strong, but like he would have a hard low right kick and a hard like overhand.
Yeah.
And he'd have this like kind of like innocent voice, hey, you want to come over and spar?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, Taylor wants me to spar with him.
Yeah. Taylor was good, man.
And just whipped the hell out of me. I didn't know what was going on. Like I was just figuring stuff out, and people saw a little size on me from the weight room and stuff, and I could take a lick. So I just go over there and take the licks, but not knowing what I was doing. So let's get back to the original question here, which is it all kind of ties together. It's where capital has come from. Like funny enough, we were at Ted's Montana Grill. One of those places. I think it was Ted's Montana Grill with Jeremy after some training or something. And he had a gigantic piece of chocolate cake. He's like, I like to do big things or something like that. And he's either.
It sounds like Jeremy.
Yeah, and he
Did
just
did he drop his voice like this?
Yeah, he had big like this thing had to weigh 5 pounds, double chocolate, piece of double chocolate cake, and he's like chomping on it and smiling. But he was talking in relation to because he was just about to open the Sterling location, which was big. So Jeremy always, I really appreciated it, but he didn't, I got to know him after he had just opened the initial place, and he could have stopped there, but like he had a vision, and the vision moved ahead, and then everything kind of fell into place thereafter. Mm-hmm. I mean, we hit a certain point, and I wish Roland would have been here. We could talk about this, because it was like I was training over there for like a year, and within a year, then I became a coach, because I had I was a high school football coach in Pittsburgh Central Catholic. I was a freshman coach there. Duquesne City School District, I was a coach there.
Kevin Price.
Yeah, Kevin Price. Maurice Demery. I know my brother played ball with Chris Morgan. These names nobody else will know, but PJ and I, people from back up. But anyway, I was always around a lot of good athletes and coaching. So the graduate assistant strength coach for Duquesne University when I was in grad school. So I worked with 21, 22 men's and women's Division I sports. So I had some coaching background. Anyway, Roland and I took over the classes, but I also went to Jeremy and with some other people. Ray Soto was another guy. Anyway, we're like, hey, we need more. We need more striking. And Jeremy didn't say no. He said, all right, basically, let me see what I can do. And he tried to find us more opportunities to get better. Mm-hmm. And he took it upon himself to get within the local community and outside of the community to find us some better striking.
Okay.
And he did that for us. And that's kind of been always the flow with Capital, is like if somebody has a need, like there's this there's some fluidity with it.
Yeah.
But also Jeremy did a good job too. Like, I like the fight stuff. I fought, I'm attached to fighters. I still coach to a certain degree. But Jeremy knew that a fight gym wouldn't be, successful overall. You needed to have a good mix of things. You need to have the community and all those things together. So what I'm getting at with all that, there's no rigidity with Capital. I think there's a lot of openness to like, okay, let's try this.
Yeah.
It goes from like Amin. Amin walked in. He had, a handful of professional fights from Morocco. He had just had a hernia surgery in New York City. He'd moved down to the, D.C. metro area, and he, came into our gym, all bright-eyed and ready to go. And we started creating a structure, routine, and environment to not only develop him, but guys like Joel Reginano, Heather Walker-Leahy. They're two of our other pros, homegrown pros.
Yeah.
Joel and Heather walked in from at the the Eisenhower location.
Okay.
So they came in with nothing and went to left as professional fighters. So that's where things have really gotten better at. Where they can improve, I don't know. I don't think that's fair to me to say, because I'm like, aside from the early mornings, I'm not there on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
But it's, there's a lot of connectivity between all the gyms. Before I really kind of pulled away, my goal was to do more connectivity with the Muay Thai program and all the locations, just to kind of have that. You got to know this movie, The Warriors. Yeah. Just
nice.
Bring all the gangs together.
Oh yeah!
Oh my gosh, I'm so
We have the
excited.
Vice Lords next to the baseball.
Can you dig it? It's such a great movie.
Yeah. But I don't know, and I'm a guy like I don't think I can get like I don't see any like huge blind spot or anything like that. That I could identify.
Yeah, I think it's like constant just refinement, like the little things.
Yeah,
'Cause I think like community, like how can we? Because we had our promotion ceremony this weekend, and we had like almost 50 people there from all over, and we're still a small gym because we're new, but it was like I think the people at Herndon at my gym, they saw like for the first time that like there's a much broader community there.
It's huge. It really is. And Jeremy really pushed that community part, and I know like in seeing Amin, what he's done at his gym Atlas, like he's really pushes the community, whether he was inspired by Capital or not, like those things work, and it's inclusive.
Yeah.
And just like, Jeremy did, 15 plus years ago, he listened to us. And, I think that is something that, not without being at all the locations that my assumption is that is infectious, and the coaches and the owners listen to their students. It's not Cobra Kai type stuff, or
Can't go there,
or
do
other
this.
gyms that I'm aware of that shall remain nameless.
Yeah, there are
Some
there are a lot of them.
Yeah.
And as I've learned, like just in the short time I've been an owner, like it's fascinating how many gyms are like that, and they don't want relationships. They don't want their athletes being with anybody else, even if it's like, I want to learn from you.
A little bit too hierarchical,
Yeah.
like too rigidity with the hierarchy, and that can get. Then you get into an environment that's like you're kind of in an anxious, maybe insecure state on how to navigate that environment, and then it doesn't become comfortable. And if you can't be comfortable and safe in an environment, then you're not going to learn.
Right. Well, that's that. I guess that whole like third space phenomenon, right? Like where a gym or wherever it is, like you have your house, you have your work, and then what's the third space where you spend your time at?
Yeah.
Like it should be a special place. And I think that's what makes it interesting too, is when you do have partnerships with like other gyms where you can come and go, like you're like, man, this is beautiful. Like this is you can feel like this thing growing.
Yeah, it's the synergy.
Yeah.
It's the homeostasis. I mean, like level up boxing, out towards Bowie. It's a great place. We've always had a good striking relationship with them. Josh Hurst, who's been running the Muay Thai program.
Josh.
Since some of us vets have had to take a step back.
One
with our
day we'll have
fans.
Josh on here.
Yeah, well, Josh would love that.
He would love that. He has spent a lot of time in this basement.
Oh yeah. Getting him explosive.
Yeah, I think we've gone through probably like five or six camps together.
Yeah.
Josh
is good. He's fashioned some relationships with a couple other gyms. Like he's been friendly with Kaizen. That's actually here in Fairfax. Well, not here. But,
it's not far. It's about like 5-10 minutes from here.
Relatively close. Oh, a little giant Muay Thai in Tyson's. Like the crew Roger goes over there and coaches. Master Odie will go there and coach as well. And I remember, the crew Chon, who's their owner and lead coach over there. I ran into him at a grocery store right before he opened it up. He's like, hey, we're, gave me a big hug. He's like, we're a small community. We need to, work together.
Yeah.
When gyms are doing that Cobra Kai, like weirdo stuff, like me, us, my gym versus you, it doesn't make the community grow.
Yeah. I think it's much more inclusive, the Muay Thai community here, than the jiu-jitsu community is.
Yeah.
But I think the jiu-jitsu community is getting more inclusive. Like I can tell you, like, the relationships that I've been able to have with other gyms that aren't Capital have been, for the most part, like super positive.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it comes back to just like, people just they care about something and want to make it special.
Yeah, Muay Thai attracts a certain personality type.
yeah, for sure. Y'all are different. You're like pool vaulters.
Yeah,
different crew.
What an event! My homeboy Bang Riley. A British guy, lives over in Holland. I got to know him just through the basically the large kickboxing Muay Thai community. Good dude.
He's the dude with all the tats.
Yes, all the tats.
All the tats.
John is good. He's a good dude. But anyway, I could go on tangents about him, but. So he said something interesting too. I'm not going to get into my Johnny British voice, but he had been attached to Kevin Ross and and Gina Carano at one point. He had done a short film on Kevin. It was really good. I have to forget the name of it now that I think about it. But anyway, it's a fantastic 5-minute piece. But in his British accent, he was talking what Gina Carano had said one time. It's I think she was telling. I can't remember who she was telling this to, but basically what she was saying, he's like, bro, she said, you guys are the skateboarders, you can't stop, you're the skateboarders of, fighting.
Yeah.
That kind of counterculture, anti-establishment. And there's a lot of elements of that, I think, in Muay Thai from an American perspective. So, with that, you get some interesting people. It's like, come one, come all, or one, or maybe kind of like the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah.
We'll take everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I think jiu-jitsu, it's very conformal.
It's very opposite of that.
Yeah, it's like, gyms we aren't going to name. It's like you need to wear our branded gi on the mat.
Yeah, there's plenty of that.
No cross training. And I think the belt structure probably enforces that.
Yeah.
With the the black belt being the top of the pyramid.
Yeah, it's Crew Roger and Master Odie, would say this a lot. And Joe Reginato ran with this too. so Roger would say he says up to you a lot. Like he gives us the coaching, and it's up to you what to do with it.
Yeah.
And Bang Riley, he had a boxing coach in London, and he did a good documentary. It's like 2 hours long. He had taken 2 Dutch kickboxers, and he took them to London, and he wanted to turn them into boxers.
Okay.
But his Bang's, I forget the guy's name, specific boxing coach. He says, I'm gonna give him these skills, and then it's up to you to paint the picture, the color of your choice. Yeah, I remember Joel saying one time too. This is a martial art,
Right.
and with art, it's not supposed to be a rigid process where you have to adhere to this, paint by numbers, type of thing.
I think that's what great jiu-jitsu coaches do too, though, I think great jiu-jitsu coaches do that as well. Like you get to that place where you've developed enough foundational skills, and then you start exploring like what's the system or what's the style that speaks to you. Where
Yes.
like you and I are like in the same level, and
You're a brown belt now.
no, you'll get there too, kid. Don't worry about it. But we have very different games,
Right.
right? And but we fall under the exact same lineage.
Yeah, and art is an expression of yourself.
Yeah.
And that's why I look at, I try to look at sports and just life in general. It's like, how we, take our abilities, whether that's physical, cognitive, emotional, and everything, that's sandwiched in between that with, neuropsychological functioning. It's like, these are skills, these are the colors
Yeah. Right.
that we can paint, our lives with and express ourselves.
Man, that's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I don't know. He's using a lot of big words. He's also a clinical psychologist. Like, no, seriously.
Yes.
So you have I think that's like an interesting piece too, is like how, like that's our psychology of a fighter, right? Like,
Yeah.
like what that, and I think especially you who has fought, you have been in a corner of fighters of all different levels.
Yeah.
Is there anything that kind of like it always just boils down to like the psychology of a fighter? Like what is that thing that you see starts to differentiate success and failure? Or I don't even want to say failure because I don't even like using the word failure, but like someone accomplishing a goal.
Well, all depends on what the specific goal is, right? If you got guys that come through the gym and they say, "Well, I want to just have a fight," I that's fine if people want to do that. I'm not. That was my thing early on. I wasn't the biggest fan of it because, like, I don't want you to treat our gym and our fight team as like I'm going to bungee jump, then I'm never going to see you again.
Oh, yeah,
I've jumped out of an airplane. Look, everybody, I did that.
Yeah.
Because you just kind of take from the community, then you disappear.
Yep.
And I'm not a big fan of that. And also too, like just walking in and saying you did it without appropriate preparation, I'm not a fan of that either. So Crew Roger talks a lot too. Like, he will coach you, but you better do what he says because he's when you go into that ring, he's a representation of his coaching.
Right.
You're my student, and like that's like he doesn't care if he's getting $1,000 for everything that he does, he does for you. He wants you to take what he does and be a good representation of him and grow.
Yeah.
I don't know. So it depends on what people are going after, man. And like, I don't know, the fighter personalities and, there's all kinds of things I see that can make somebody a good fighter. I mean,
what's like one of those things that stands out? Like when you're like, man, that guy, that person, that man, that woman, they have that thing. Like, what is the thing that kind of just stands out with you?
It's so the job of the brain is to keep the body alive, and getting into a ring or a cage goes completely against that.
Yeah.
And anybody who says otherwise, like, oh, I was fine going in there, you could get yourself into a state of flow and where you're appropriately ready to do that. But being brave does not mean you're without fear. It's how you manage that fear. Customato talked about fear as a fire.
Yeah.
And fire's good, right? From just a basic standpoint, keeps us warm during the winter. It cooks our food. It keeps the lights on. But if we let that fire, i.e., anxiety, fear, rage out of control, would burn everything down.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where Curtis Bladis got last night. Oh, sorry guys.
Yep. It's okay.
Bleep.
Beep.
Oh snap.
Oh, snap.
Oh snap, my nose is broken.
Oh, frick.
I got to get him out of here.
Yeah.
I can't breathe. I only have X amount of minutes before I'm sapped and I can't process oxygen, like I need to. And I have to open my mouth to get oxygen, at times, which means I can get knocked out easier. I can get my jaw broken. So, it's time to get him out of there. So, kind of going back, it's how you manage your fear. And you do that through perception of yourself and what you're about to, get into.
Yeah.
I mean, there are certain personality characteristics. I could sit here from a clinical perspective. I mean, there are certain disorders where you have a higher threshold for pain.
Yeah.
There are certain disorders where you can be more rigid and over-focused on things to attain a goal. There are certain disorders that allow you to be a little less empathetic. To
Which
others.
comes in handy. Yeah.
And there are certain things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. There's some things, in terms of his, how he perceives himself and others, and that allows him to do some of the things he does. I'll leave that alone. But there are guys with, they're twitchy because they're impulsive. They can be impulsive with their thoughts. They become impulsive with their physical reactions. And if you're a good coach and you recognize some of these things, even with the folks with higher thresholds for pain and all that stuff, like, okay, how can I mold this?
Right.
Somebody who's, like, oh my goodness, like, you got guys who are brave, like, they're going to stand in front of somebody, they might not have a skill set. Okay, that's something to work with.
Right.
I got somebody who's kind of got 50% of the technique, but is, willing to not get into their head and flow with it and trust their instincts and their impulses. So it's about we're going to go back to those colors, and just kind of painting that picture of the color of your choice, and that's part of the coach's job too. What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? Let's lean into the strengths and let's develop these weaknesses.
Yeah,
and then you create a beautiful picture.
What do you think about too? Like it's interesting, like the strengths and weaknesses piece. Like there's a great coach, Charlie Francis. He was Ben Johnson's sprint coach, but he talked a lot about how Ben Johnson was super fast out of the blocks, and he didn't have a great ability to hold max velocity. So that's like after you're accelerating, how long can you hold on to that maximum speed? And he talked about he's not concerned about training his max velocity, his weakness, as much as he is as focusing on really making his strength that much better. So I always kind of I found that interesting because I kind of applied that same principle in a lot of ways as a coach. And I'd be curious what your thoughts are on that, where you still address the weaknesses, but you don't spend a whole lot of time focusing on the weakness as you do really developing that strength.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I stumped him.
Yeah. I mean,
when I hear weaknesses, first, and I'm going from a fight-based perspective too, is Amin is going to be fighting again at the end of the year. He made an announcement.
Yeah, I just saw that. That's exciting.
I'm still involved with him. I know Josh has a fight at the end of May in Pennsylvania.
Yep.
So that's a little bit. We have film on the guy that that he's going to fight. But if I'm looking at a Josh or Amin or anybody in between, that I'm working with, I'm going to say, okay, if I'm the opponent's coach, what do I want to exploit?
Yeah.
One thing with Amin, when he would get that wild, crazy dog in him when he'd start dominating people and he would get reckless. In L.A. and then in I was at the L.A. Coliseum for a title fight with Lion Fight and defending it in Connecticut, he was just in total control.
Yeah.
Easy peasy, man. Just keep your hands up, don't get crazy. And both fights, either the fourth or fifth round, he got cut by an elbow.
Yeah.
And the discussions were thereafter is you can't do that. That will cost you a fight if that cut is bad enough, it gets in the eyes, what have you. So, yeah, the weakness part from a fight-based perspective, no, I'm going to be it's not going to make that necessarily a weakness of strength, but we're not going to make it something that the opponent can exploit.
Yeah. That's a good way. I like that.
Because as a coach, when we're looking at Josh's opponent, Amin will get an opponent, probably, August, September, if he's going to fight, in November. And we're like, okay, where can we take him that he's uncomfortable?
Yeah.
And that's and that's where you want to go. And that's sports in general. You want to put your fighter, your team in the best position possible with their strengths, and the other team or the opponent, you want to take them to where they're uncomfortable and they're more likely to make mistakes.
Yeah.
I.e. Curtis Blade is, I'm going to burrow. That's not necessarily where I'm comfortable with.
Yeah. What do you think too? I mean, because that makes me being cognizant of time too, because this is a big question. But how much do you share with your athletes? So, like, Josh has a fight coming up, right, or a means fight, and you've done your homework on their opponent. How much do you share with your fighter about that opponent in relation to how much you're just focused on them knowing and getting better at their skill versus trying to consume too many of their thoughts around their opponent?
Yeah, I definitely got to chunk the info because, like, it's. I learned this from one of the high school coaches I work with too. Sometimes you just got to let the athlete be the athlete too. You give them some information. So, just to back up a little bit, I don't want to overload an athlete with too much stuff because they're already going through training. They're processing a lot to begin with, and plus they have some we have to be able to trust what that athlete sees too. So give them like 2 or 3 good chunks of what you feel they should be working on to exploit with the your opponent or whatever they need to prove on, and you allow them to marry that with what they do well.
Yeah. I like it. All right. Thank you.
One question we get often, and you touched on this, is
I bench about 305, 310 at my peak.
But he only weighed 123.
So
so he's tripling his body weight.
how do you help your athletes deal with the anxiety that you mentioned earlier? And
like like camp, during camp.
In camp, and also in the fight. I mean, like you said, we mentioned Blades losing his game plan in round 1. Like in the corner, are you saying something to them? So I guess it's 2 questions: dealing with anxiety before the fight, and then when it's actually happening.
It's the fire. We need that fire, right? So we got to teach the athlete on how to manage it appropriately, and that's creating a practice routine, a training schedule that is clear, predictable, not even for just what you're going to be doing in the gym, but what you're going to do for recovery, nutrition, sleep. So it takes down the what ifs, or what do I have to do? Just the guesswork. The brain does best when like things are laid out clear and predictable and there's a strategic goal, because that decreases anxiety right there. Yep. And then from your training and the feedback you get from the environment naturally, just like, oh, this is working, in addition to what you're getting the feedback from your training partners, your coaches, those are all facts that we're going to feed that's going to temper the flames. Because when it gets too, am I doing enough? Is this right? Is it wrong? What's going on? I don't feel right. No, what are the facts? Look at this. Look what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Look what you've done already as a fighter. Let's stick to the game plan. Let's let's lean into your what's factual about you, about not only what you have done, but what you're doing now. And then we predict into the future too. Think about what you're going to do. I want my athletes, and I do this with because I do sports psychology work in private practice too, is like, I want you to see how you're going to perform under pressure. I want you to see yourself, laying the punch, laying the kick, whatever it may be. But I also want you to see things going bad, because that's what we're afraid to do. Well, we don't want to admit that something might go wrong. We might get clipped
Because you get in that unknown.
Yeah. It's like, I think, no. But we need to be ready for that, because then, again, going back, when the brain is prepared, then it can react appropriately. We've talked to different, like when a mean would get clipped or something. Josh got clipped in his last fight. He knew what to do. He went back to his base of what he was doing. That was good for him in terms of fighting and skill wise. And then just to backtrack a little bit, the training takes care of the rest, because it's something that hasn't happened before. Right? It may have happened in your mind. It may even happen. It's more likely happened in training. You probably took a hard shot. Well, what do? Deep breath, get up, move around. So you have a predetermined set of thoughts and specific behaviors to rely upon. So it's about control, and that's the anxiety. Anxiety is the unpredictable. Well, we need to make things predictable and under control.
That's awesome. I love that.
All right, last question for you, Scott. And this is a bit of a
I'm having
doozy.
fun. I'm actually kind of bummed out.
Scott,
Yes.
I love this question.
your shorts are so short.
Yes, they are.
Why do you do that? Now, for those who don't know, Scott wears extra small Muay Thai shorts and then rolls the waistband about 30 times to make them even shorter. What's the origin of that?
You see his legs?
Well,
That's why.
There you go.
Jesus.
You said why. I say why not.
I love it. I love it.
I had a stylist once. My hair was a little bit longer, a little bit
Yeah.
flowy and fluffier. He told me if you got it, flaunt it.
That's right. Sky's out, five's out. Yep.
No, I don't know. I think part kind of like it might be a little bit of an anxious thing. I end up pulling them up a little bit, but I do know my legs are like they're powerful. They will kick hard.
Powerful legs.
Well, yeah, in all of
mean a
your group photos, you got the legs out front.
Dude, in his group photos, the first time I ever saw a photo, I was like, jacked. And I'm thinking he's like 190.
Nah, son.
No. I think the first time we actually like met face to face, I was like, he's like my size.
So the shorts are giving like an optical illusion to you. You're all thrown off.
I was so thrown off. I saw so much flesh that I was like,
Now, part of it, I think, from it does help with range of motion. Like, I do think I'm not like I'm not like stuck with like these big pants. I'm not being able to to kick appropriately. So
You're not like
well, if you look at like you go like I think K1 had a show yesterday, and you'll see it obviously in the MMA world. Is people wear the tights like you got more space to do stuff to let it flow. And now that it's become a thing within the Capital community where I get busted on directly and indirectly. Like I got dudes like Ed Gaddis sends me stuff about short shorts. Wait, there's more. Nora hated on me. Let me see what Nora said a couple.
we don't hate you for it.
yeah, there's no, yeah, I think it's more jealousy. I think it's thigh jealousy. I think it's interesting too because it goes back to like Wesley Snipes, right? Like,
What do you mean it goes back to Wesley Snipes?
White men can't jump.
Okay.
Like you look good, feel good, play good.
Where is it at here? Nora sent me. I think she asked me what was up with the booty shorts.
But you've known Nora for a long time.
Yeah.
She's still questioning that.
Yeah, Nora, if you're out there, why question it?
Yeah, how's she doing? How's her shoulder?
She's getting better.
Yeah,
she's doing all right. I think the biggest thing is that she was winning that fight. And
yeah,
she was in total
she
control, and that was just. I mean, it was a hard slam, but it's like still, it's almost freakish that the way that happened. But
it's a shoulder.
Oh yeah, that that takedown was gross.
They go anywhere.
Yeah, she's oh here's you mini. She says mini short, huh?
I love it.
Yeah, I was bummed that I was supposed to be down there for that fight, but I had some things I had to.
Yeah, what's it like in the Apex seeing a fight?
It was. It was interesting. It was interesting.
Intimate.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, Joel and I went and watched her for. That was her second or third fight in the UFC at the Apex. She got us tickets because then we have they give him like a couple tickets. We were allowed to go in and we had to go right out after that fight. That was very interesting.
Interesting.
That felt very Cannonball, not Cannonball, Running Man.
Okay.
The Schwarzenegger felt like the Schwarzenegger movie. Just like it's quiet. There's people in there, but being in the corner. And being behind the scenes, doing the weight cut with her at the Apex Center, and walking into the the sauna, and there's Benson Henderson.
Wow, he's pretty good.
Yeah,
he was there last night.
Yeah, Thiago Alves, was there. So it's really interesting, I don't want to say it's demystifying, but like. And I think a lot of these guys would say this too, is like, they're no different than us. They just decided to do something and really, go with it and stick with it. The guy, was it Mike Brown who knocked out Uriah Faber in the WEC?
BJ, you said you were a fan of the WEC last night, and now you don't know.
I'm freezing up. I'm freezing up a little bit.
Bit of a poser.
I can't handle this. My anxiety's going through the roof.
Yeah,Ck Brown.
Calm me down, Scott. I can't process right now.
You prepped for this, BJ. You're studying the tape.
Give me a 4. I'll breathe in for 4, hold for 6, breathe out for 7.
Box breathing.
Yeah, Mike Brown's
hop around a little bit.
Mike Brown's like a sought after coach now too, but like he was in there too.
Yeah, he's got the goatee. He's a smaller guy. I knew. Yeah.
Oh, Mike Brown. Yeah. Okay.
Mike Brown.
Fantastic coach, but he was a Division III wrestler, and he stuck with it, and he did some very great things. So, It was really cool. It was really cool in that regard. But I mean, that's big business. Like,
It's clearly a business.
Oh, it's high stakes. The whole way around. But it's the performance center. Like we did the weight cut, and it's like they have like the smoothie bar. We can get all kinds of stuff. Like the fighters can do whatever they want.
That's amazing.
As far as like getting supplements and drinks and different stuff like that. And it was pretty cool. Saw Joe Schilling walking. He was walking in. I was walking out one day. Joe Schilling used to do seminars at Capitol.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just like coming together of all these different athletes, and it's just kind of it's cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially too, like if you see someone you've seen before, like you've known like in a previous life or something, you start to see how all these worlds are just we're so much closer to people than we think.
Well, particularly within the fight world, like there's more of a 6 degree. 6 degrees of separation is a lot more. It's closer. Like in the fight world, like somebody who knows somebody who's quote unquote like famous as an athlete a lot easier than like I don't know Matt Stafford, right?
Right.
Like
But you're probably like
BJ, hold on. That's a quarterback for the Rams.
He started playing in the 210s, right?
About then, yeah.
Somewhere around
Detroit.
there. Played for Detroit and the Rams.
Yeah, still on the Rams.
He still plays?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I don't watch football. I haven't watched football since 2015.
Yeah.
I just watch baseball and fighting.
But it was cool. I mean, those guys, and just to see, like, when Nora is like, I mean, if Nora was born in America, she's a Division I athlete of some sort.
Yeah.
Like a blue chip athlete. Same thing with Amin. Like, these are blue chip athletes. But to see it on the fight level and to see, like, somebody who goes past, like, okay, because you can see people that walk into the gym that they get to a point where they're an unstoppable amateur, and that's enough for them.
Yeah.
And you see people that go to that next level, like, okay, I want a couple pro fights or become a good regional pro. And then after that, like the people who stay and keep doing it, it's unbelievable. And being able to have the opportunity to work with somebody, like not somebody, just the people that I have. I mean, it's to see that mindset where people are going to dig in and come hell or high water. They're not going to be stopped in terms of reaching their goal. And, the manifestation of that is what you see with, people like, with like Nora, Joel before all, his injuries.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, just like they made it happen. They said, I'm here, but I'm going to be here.
This is going to happen.
And same thing with Amin. Like it's really just a blessing to see that whole process. And then, and then it's a podcast for another time, but just the psychology that goes behind all that for somebody to get to those points and then and to keep going.
Yeah, it's remarkable. I remember when she came, because I got to work with her. She came to my class and trained when she first started grappling. Like she was brand new, and she's in my class.
Well, MMA at that point was illegal in France. That's why we were trying to get her over here on a visa so she could get the experience, like the grappling, the jiu-jitsu, the wrestling, and good weight training, because that was behind there too.
Yeah, and the fact that like to see, and that wasn't even that long ago. I mean, like in that probably like 5-6 years, and to see like how she went from not really knowing anything to where she is now, and to also see how the fact that they didn't have MMA. She's like, we don't even have a gym. She didn't even really have a gym, and back in France, and like to see like not having those resources, and it's still not going to stop. Like this is something I'm going to do. Yeah, but there was also like a confidence and a humility about like when I rolled with her for I don't know how long that day, and but she just was like, all right, I'm just trying to figure this thing out. Yeah, it was really pretty remarkable.
Oh, it is, and to see that the way that the amount, like in the weight cut that she did, and just being around the other athletes and watching them do their weight cuts. Yeah, I mean they go through. I mean they go through it, and then they're aware of what they're about to get themselves into, and the back and forth, and trying to keep themselves focused on what they're there to do, rather than making that fire burn out of control and getting too panicky and anxious. I mean, it is unbelievable. And them dudes are big, man. I mean, like, I remember, like, walking past Cub Swanson. He's gigantic. Yeah. Michael Bisping is gigantic.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Like, Neil Magny, he thought Nora ingested... Well, never mind. He thought... I don't know if we might want to strike that. Anyway, No, there
I'll
was like
edit it out.
no. I think it's safe to say they give those stingers out. Those
Yeah, the gel.
Yeah, and they have caffeine in it. And
Yep.
the Nevada Commission is nasty. Like they watch everything.
Yeah.
And she may have had one around her, but Neil Magny came over to me. He's like, "Hey, bro, you speak English?" Because I thought it was French.
You do give off French vibes.
No, he doesn't.
Ooh la la, monsieur.
He's
Nah.
the French thug vibes. He's got like the black hoodie
Yeah,
on.
Scott's chain smoking in the corner. What do you think? What do you mean? You think I'm French?
That was funny. There's all kinds of little funny things like that too. I would get double takes from the dudes over there because people confuse me as somebody who's like been like an MMA fighter or something. So it's interesting. But if you get in those big, that's the other thing that really stood out too. It's like that. You walk into rooms like that, like it's always like, who's that? Everybody's sizing each other up, and everybody's cool, but you can tell like there's it's like wolves walking around like. Everybody's cool, but it's like like people are always
There's
kind of
tension.
Like, yeah, there's tension and people size. You can tell there's like indirect people sizing each other up. But also being behind the scenes there, as compared to like if you go to like amateur events, people are nervous. They're running back and forth to the bathroom. You can see all the nervous ticks and stuff. Being in the locker rooms, like Amin was fantastic. Amin, you thought he was going to go like go to the beach before a fight. Like he was so relaxed.
Yep.
Being like, behind the scenes with, high level Thai fighters and seeing how relaxed they are.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing in, being at the Apex and being behind the curtain and seeing people, they were nervous, but it wasn't like you would see it at an amateur level where people were like, oh my God, what am I about to do?
Yeah, I noticed that too, like being the Cagezilla and being in the back helping people. You'll see, like, say the 100% of the fighters that are back there, there's like 10% that are calm.
Yeah.
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 And then the rest are kind of like just sitting there, or they're just warming up way too much, or
Well, and it goes back to kind of what some of these questions you guys have asked too, is like, it's fighter traits and stuff too. It's managing that fear.
yeah.
It's managing that fear. Don't get rid of it. You need that shit. Oop, I did it again.
Yep.
You need that
It's okay.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
You need-
Our worst guest yet.
Worst case, can't get it right. We're getting fined by the FCC.
Yeah, but it gets back to that because, and then what I'm talking about too is like a guy like Mike Brown. He was a Division III wrestler. Not to knock Division III wrestlers, they're good.
Yeah.
Right, but you would think, somebody getting the UFC has to be an All-American Division, 1A, Olympic hopeful.
Right.
No, like you get your mind right, you dig in, and then you push forward,
Yeah.
and you can accomplish great things. And that's where fighting becomes this. Fighting and training becomes this, fantastic thing where it's a vehicle for self-improvement.
Hey, it's great to leave off on that.
All right. Well, thank you for
That
listening.
was beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah. I got the color wheel analogy.
Anything else?
No, in that I'm good. I got my tools from this meeting. Yep.
All righty. Well, thank you for listening to another excellent episode of the Tap Often podcast. My name is Alex. Your name is. Who cares? Thank you.
But whenever I make enough money owning a gym, our last episode, I'm just good because I score a lot.
It's the locker room Pittsburgh talk.
It's gonna
That's
fly.
one of my best things.
PJ, I recorded that. I'm saving that. I'm going to use that
Save
against
that.
you.
Getting out of the public school system has allowed me to
Express yourself.
a tad bit more.
So here's your Chico Williams story, Alex. Chico Williams was so good.
How good was he?
He was so good that he was the best player on the team. That included Hall of Famer Ty Law.
Oh.
Ty Law.
I had no idea BJ had this podcast voice.
Yeah, deep sounds. Barry White
Coming up next on NPR,
That's
BJ
just-
is going to talk more about
But you're like
70s football.
50s or 60s. That's my wheelhouse.
Sorry.
It's
It's too modern.
I brought up Chuck Bednarik last week.
Concrete Charlie, baby. You don't know which way.
See?
You don't know which way he's pointing.
I had to bring it up. Alex was like, what is he from the 80s?
No, I said 70s. Now, is Terry Bradshaw too recent for you?
It depends because he started in '69. So Terry.
So it's right at the barrier
right
for
at the
you.
barrier. Little known fact: Terry Bradshaw was the national record holder in the javelin in high school.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, 246 feet, I think. 243 feet, like 7 inches or something like that.
Is that a lot?
Yeah.
But what about like modern standards? Is that still?
No, that's still very far. Yeah, very, very far. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's impressive. He had a cannon. He was a tool. God.
Yeah, cut a lot of flack for being
Dumb.
well.
He's an analyst. What are you talking about?
Oh, that's right. They're all smart. Look at Daniel Cormier. Brilliant analyst.
Cormier was bad last night.
He was terrible. When he started talking about food, that's called a shepherd's pie.
No, yeah, he said I had a delicious Irish pie last night.
An Irish pie that had vegetables and meat. It's a shepherd's pie. Thanks, DC.
Yeah, DC seems to play the game quite well. Like he knows what to say about people in the audience. He's 100% a company man.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Which George Jones really isn't, but it's
But it works better for him.
Yeah, I mean he's very talented dude, but actually I think a very true villain.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've come to the conclusion on this podcast we hate John Jones.
Yeah.
You need me to speak into the mic a little bit louder.
Yeah.
Is that better?
You can move the mic if you're gonna face him. It doesn't have. There you go.
So I should.
Quite good there.
Thank you. I need the Janet Jackson. Like
the Britney Spears.
Just no
pop star
malfunction
headset.
because I know
No Justin Timberlake.
no JT. He is the JT to my Janet Jackson, though. Let's be honest.
I don't really know what that's supposed
I
to
don't
imply.
either. I don't either.
I'm definitely the JC Chazé to your Justin Timberlake.
Oh, whoa, wow.
Strong
Wow. I
pull,
had to
strong
think
pull.
about that.
Yeah, I had to calculate that.
Yeah.
For a second.
Actually
Because that's way past the.
I'm actually glad I didn't have to, I didn't know that really quickly. I had to calculate that because I don't want to know.
So does that bother you, or does that excite you? That you're like, I still can pull that information, or does it, or does it depress you?
I don't. Well, I think now I'm thinking about it, man. I see it maybe on the south side of Pittsburgh.
South side?
Yeah,
Down
south
at
side of Pittsburgh,
Donzi's?
like late. Oh my god.
Chauncey's at the Strip.
Yeah, I kind of maybe see you on Chauncey's on the Strip, maybe dressing up like a new kid. You could be Donnie. You're bad.
I could, I have that haggard old man look. Is that what he said? Is it Donnie from Sixth Sense? Donnie,
No, Donnie from the Bad Boy of New Kids.
bad boy.
Yeah.
Not like Sixth
No,
Sense.
Donnie from what is it? Saw 2.
Saw 2. Oh my gosh.
Or no, what was it?
It was Saw. It was Saw 1.
He was in multiple. No, he wasn't in the first
Donnie
one.
Wahlberg was in Saw.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he gets his head
Oh
smashed.
my gosh, you've never seen that?
No, I know. I know he dipped into acting. I watched him in at least an independent film. It was like a semi-serious role. Did pretty good. Diamond Men, I think it was.
Diamond Men.
Yeah, I'd go over in Squirrel Hill to down at Squirrel Hill, and go to one of the independents.
This is gonna do
Alex
great in
is so-
Pittsburgh.
We're trying to beef up the Pittsburgh
movie
audience.
rental places.
Oh, dude, there were so many, and none of them were Blockbuster. They're all Prime Video Mart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one particular one in Squirrel Hill. Would have the rack of movies that you had to be. They're like NC 17.
Yeah,
17, yeah.
Yeah, there'd be like Bad Lieutenant, Battle Royale.
right. Oh, dude, Battle Royale is amazing. Have you
Bad
ever seen
Lieutenant
that?
was NC-17.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nicolas Cage.
No, well, they may have rebooted it, but it was. I can see his face. He's a Scorsese guy.
Keitel.
Harvey Keitel.
Do you know who Harvey Keitel is?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. Because you're like, oh, Nicolas Cage, I love him.
He was in a movie
He
called
was,
Bad
he
Lieutenant.
was
but I think
great in
it might have been
Treasures of the Natural Treasures.
a sequel or something.
Bad Lieutenant?
Like
not a sequel.
his takes place in New Orleans. Anyway, no one
Yeah,
cares.
this was not New Orleans. No one cares. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying no one cares about that movie. I don't know.
No,
what
but
brought it
people
up.
in Pittsburgh care that you're not giving Squirrel Hill the amount of love. that
I
it
don't
should.
know what Squirrel Hill is, but it sounds great.
It's a hill that has squirrels.
Well, that could be anywhere in America.
And a couple good pizza shops.
Yeah. Oh, some good hoagies.
Hoagies.
Love a good hoagie.
Let me hear some good Pittsburgh accents.
I just gave you some.
Well, get more. I want to.
So I'm from a little bit further away. So I'm
you're-
from 36 miles away. From
Okay, so you're not from
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. You're a poser.
I'm more
you know,
like Appalachia.
yeah, BJ and I are kind of similar in that regard. Like, I went to school in Pittsburgh, spent a good amount of time
He
living
did his
there.
time.
Yeah, but I'm from about 40 minutes south of Pittsburgh, a
okay.
coal mining town called Uniontown.
Uniontown.
Yeah.
You know that
Union
Epps?
Town?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which Eps do you know?
So Aaron, who I went to high school with,
Uh-huh.
his mom Dorothy is really good basketball. She's one of the best coaches in the Whitfield.
Yeah.
Whitfield was the high school district that we all come from.
You don't have to tell me.
No, I'm explaining that to you and the audience.
They don't need to know.
Put it this way: no one can compete with the Whipule, pound for pound.
Whip Huel?
WPIAL.
Okay.
Western Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic League.
One day you'll know. Name a football player who's great in the Hall of Fame. Joe Montana? Yeah.
I'll go deeper.
Yeah. Let's go. We'll play a game.
Well,
you just go one, I'll go one.
Just the family that he mentioned. Tori Epps went to high school with my cousin. They played football together. Went to Memphis, and then he was on the original Jerry Glanville, Deion Sanders, Atlanta Falcons teams. The playoff, when MC Hammer, Ice Cube. He didn't know who was going to be on the sidelines.
Yep.
So that
Do you know that generation?
MC Hammer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a D tackle.
Yeah,
MC Hammer was a D tackle?
He was a bad boy for the A's.
Tori Epps, actually, rest in peace. I used to hang out with Tori, have some beers back in town.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, so I guess it would be like his cousin. So, like, Aaron's dad, like, went to Uniontown High School. And I'll figure out his name.
Yeah,
But
you need
Aaron's
South
a
High
stud.
School, brother, man. A lot of good talents come out of there. The first African American All American quarterback, or actually, I think it was just the first African American quarterback in major college football, Sandy Stevenson, Uniontown High School.
Okay.
My dad played there, and two of his teammates, one Bennett Gregory, coached Rashawn Salam, Heisman Trophy winner at Colorado. And then Gene Huey was the running backs. My dad played with him. Gene Huey was the running backs coach for the Colts. He coached Ed James, Marshall Falk.
Decent.
Yeah. I think this guy's kind of okay.
Falk was okay.
Put some respect on Falk's name.
Falk was
he played after the 60s.
He
though,
did, but
so
he
I
was
don't-
so good I am aware of who he is. I mean, he's no Priest Holmes, according to you.
No, I would probably
He's
put
better than Priest
Marshall
Holmes. Are you
Falk
kidding
above-
me?
I just agreed with you.
Yeah, you can't not agree with me on that.
I have a Priest Holmes jersey. I don't have a Marshall Falk jersey.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe we need to get you.
Well, my uncle bought me it was like a child's triple XL jersey when I was young,
It still fits.
and now it fits.
Yeah.
It did not fit me when I got it.
No, but it does now.
It fits now.
Yeah, for sure. I've seen your body. That's all I'm going to say.
Alrighty.
Yep.